So Kelsea Ballerini is an amazing vocalist. I'm sure it's a pleasure to work with on a regular basis. Is it good out of the gate? Are you doing a lot to get that sound? Or talk a little bit about what you're doing processing for that vocal.
Yeah, I mean, that's what she does, and she puts a lot into that mic, which is super great for us. You know, we're always really grateful to have singers like that as audio professionals, right? We're always.
Which mic is she using?
She's on a Sennheiser 6000 digital with a 9235 capsule, and which was actually a really great story. I mean, we gathered, when we first started working with her, we gathered every mic in the land and put it all in front of her, and we literally just went down the line, and we all three, myself, the monitor engineer, and Kelsea, we all settled on the same mic, and it was that 9235, which is, yeah, it's been great, and it's gone with us everywhere, all over the world, and it's really cool to find a mic that fits that singer so well. Yeah.
Great. We'll talk about what you're doing processing.
Yeah. So I'm using a silk on her to start, and I like the red, just a little bit of air, just a little bit of sparkle, so to speak. EQ-wise, she doesn't need a whole lot, and I kind of rely on some inserts that we'll get into a little bit later. But to start off on the insert, I'm using the primary source enhancer. And this is, you know, out of all of the tools that have come out in the last 20 years, I would put this in the top 3 for sure. Try not to go anywhere without it because it is just such a valuable asset to have.
Yeah, before it showed up on the console, I carried hardware piece live.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I took them all over the world and flew with them to Ireland and everything. And having them here, again, it's just like having the Bricastis. You can have so many instances of this where before you might be limited by budget or hardware space or anything like that.
Right.
It's so useful to have. So she goes through this first, just a little bit of depth on that. So just to kind of cut out some drum stuff or maybe some audience if she's out on the thrust or in the crowd, she does that often. So that's absolutely huge to have. So from the primary source enhancer, it goes into a multi-band comp. So I use this for more of the broad strokes sort of corrections. Typically in the lower mid band, I like to kind of keep that clean. Anywhere between 3 or 6 dB of reduction is pretty typical. We'll see a little bit of the mid and the high band stuff, maybe like a dB or 2, just as like a broadband thing, like I said. But mainly the low, mid, and the lows is kind of what that handles. I live in the VCA flavor, and I keep the harmonics on, kind of a soft knee. Just a very, again, soft broad stroke correction. From there, it goes to the 5043. I love this compressor. It is a do-it-all, doesn't get in the way, super transparent, but everything, it just sits perfectly. And honestly, this was one of those compressors that I just inserted and never touched it because it did exactly what I wanted, literally from the preset out of the gate. It's great. It might get from 2 to 4 dB of reduction every now and again. Kind of a slower attack, 100 millisecond release, kind of a faster for this unit, works great. And then the final thing in this chain is the dynamic EQ. The dynamic EQ, I think, is probably my favorite thing on this desk. You can go anything from surgical to super wideband. I could completely replace the multiband if I wanted to, but this allows me to get really surgical with this, which is great. Typically, for her, 500 hertz, 2K in a PA especially, 4K in a PA especially, and like a 250, 224 situation. Those are my target areas, and I love to do that. And she has such a wide range of vocal timbre, you know, from all of the catalog that she has, that this really works well. And it allows me to kind of get in and just create a vocal that sits, and I really don't have to do a lot to.
And do you find yourself having to tweak this from day to day when you're in different spaces, or is it more based on her voice and it kind of can be the same thing every day?
Yeah, for the most part, it's pretty similar. You know, as you change rooms, as you change temperatures, as you change outdoors to indoors, you'll see a lot of differences there. But I typically will remain pretty consistent with that. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the...
That's it, and to be completely honest, I've tried some third-party stuff. Like I've tried some waves, I've tried some UAD, I've tried some different things, and I always revert back to what's on the desk. This is my go-to, and it always works, and it was something that worked right out of the gate, which was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, I know, I mean, UAD makes some great stuff, Waves makes some great stuff.
Absolutely, everyone does.
The console integrates perfectly with both of those platforms, so the people who really feel like they need those tools, they've got them, but you know, what's in the console is stunningly good.
Absolutely, and it's easy to use, and it's all so intuitive being in that rack all together as those inserts. So yeah, it's all the tools that anyone would need to get any sort of vocal sound. You can find it in here.
That's
really
great.
cool.